Well, hello there.
Well, hello where?
Hello to all of you in TV land.
Not TV land.
I mean internet land.
No, none of that.
None of that.
No.
Well, this is Guild Wars 2. And, I'd like to start our new video series, An Idiot Abroad. Where I play Guild Wars, and Tally points out how I'm terrible at it, because, I mean, look at those wings. That's the mark of someone who has played this game a long time.
My PvP wing.
So,
Your poop wings?
Yes.
So Guild Wars 2's been out for a while, and they just released their second expansion, Path of Fire. And I have leveled a character to get right to it, and we're here at the very beginning, so we're just going to roll around a bit. I'm going to be playing a Berserker Warrior, which is the cool spec they added to the last expansion. And Tally is, what do they call your new elite spec?
It's the Mirage.
Yeah, so the Mirage Mesmer. So we're gonna roll through some story stuff, and Tally will probably tell me everything I don't know about this game in the process. So
As it should be.
As it should be. That's convenient. I'm gonna go to this blue point, or heck, where is it? Oh, I know what it is. I'm not following the right story chain. Allow me to fix that. Here we go. I need to go right here.
Not there. There.
And there's physics on the mounts.
Sorry for the gate earlier.
So by the way, just the name of the stream is It's Easy to Trace the Track of Arteria.
Nice.
Can only take so many before bursting.
That's just for you.
I take it you're here
Smooches.
for Balthazar. I am. I'm looking for a place to start. Any information you have would be helpful.
Victory or death.
So the interesting thing about the way the story is being presented right now is in the core game, which I just busted through on this character, everything is kind of in these static side-by-side. There's like a painted background and your two characters are talking at one another, and the presentation has changed so that everything is in-world, so far at least.
I see.
How do you feel about getting a little lower than ground level?
And how does that make you feel?
I think it's really nice.
Smugglers, the Homicide. Name a case.
I think it's really nice too.
Well, it just makes you feel a little bit more in, connection to the world, because there's a lot of NPCs roaming around. You'll be doing
You'll find them at the casino.
You'll be doing a big fight with, dozens of NPCs flying around, and then you'll get in a discussion, and it's two talking heads. So that's better.
Ah, yes, my favorite CBS sitcom.
Yeah. So I need to go talk to some people.
So let's oh.
Where to start?
Yeah, all right. So, hey, I just wrapped up playing Guild Wars 6 months ago because I thought, why not? And I hear there's this game, Guild Wars 2, that's a sequel of sorts. Is it?
Kind of. I mean, Guild Wars 1 was basically a PvP game.
What do you want?
And the setting.
So Tally, as someone who's played this for so long, what would you say is key to Guild Wars 2?
Yeah?
Well, Guild Wars 2 was a lot more like an MMO than Guild Wars 1 was.
Okay.
I think the appeal to both games that they share is, you can always put them down and come back to them. They're really easy to jump back into. They're all about, combining different skills to get different effects.
He's usually in his office in the casino, but he's a very busy man.
Yeah.
Is there any, anyone who's just kind of... So, multi-part question. Basically, it's this. Anyone who's interested in, hey, this kind of looks like fun. Guild Wars 2 is free to play now, correct?
It is. The core
Okay.
game is completely free, and you can get up to max level and everything. You won't really be missing out on too much except the added profession, which is the Revenant,
Okay.
until you get
And
to 80 at least.
as a free-to-play game, is there any of the here's some boosters to make you level up faster, or here's some stuff so you get more money that you actually need in order to do stuff in game?
Yeah, there are XP scrolls and stuff that you can get, but you can also get them in game, through like
Okay.
daily rewards or seasonal events. So I'd say anything that has any gameplay effect that's drawn at all, you can get in game.
Okay.
And then you can also buy them in the store. Most of the stuff that is just in the store is purely cosmetic.
Yeah, there's a lot of cosmetic stuff and things like additional character slots or extra backspace, things like that.
Okay. Yeah, they always get you on that extra bag space. All right, so someone who's like, hey, this looks kind of fun and interesting and want to pick it up and play with some friends. Free to play isn't something exactly that would be too discouraging as far as we're gonna have to sit here and like grind for 21 years in order to actually get to a point where we can play the real end game or whatever.
The thing about Guild Wars is there isn't really an end game in a traditional sense, at least as far as I'm concerned. There are things like there's like raids and things that you might expect, but there's also a lot of there's a big PvP focus. There's a lot of people craft, but once you hit max level, the max level hasn't changed since the game launched, but there's been 2 expansions.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and instead they've added in this thing called mastery points, which are kind of like they are kind of like levels, but you don't get new skills for your profession. So the new mounts that they added in this expansion unlock through mastery levels, basically.
That artwork made me think for a second we had transported into a Quest for Glory game. So then not too bad, easy to pick up and play. Why then would you want to get the expansion in particular? And you said there's another one other than Path of Fire.
So the new expansions add like basically new continents of a sort. So lots of new places to go, lots of more story. New bosses. The raid that Mike mentioned, that's a Heart of Thorns, the first expansion exclusive. But probably what makes me most excited about the new expansions is the elite specialization, which are basically a different way you can build your character, but you have to be level 80 to unlock them.
Right.
Okay.
So once the cutscene ends, I'll just pull it up now. So you have...
So each elite specialization, like I said, you have to be level 80 to start unlocking them. They all add a brand new weapon for each profession that you need to have that elite specialization equipped to use. And they add a whole new set of healing skills and utility skills and elites per profession. And they're all tied together in a way that kind of supports a kit.
In kit, like, as in the idea of classes and DPS, tank, stuff like that?
More specific than that. So, for example, the new thief specialization is called Deadeye, and it gives them a sniper rifle, basically. And their whole new kit is based around that sniper rifle, more or less. So different skills that would support that kind of play style. Whereas before, the thief was more about, getting in people's faces and stabbing them.
So, if I'm understanding correctly, specializations and skills based around particular weapons?
Yeah.
Is this secretly
particular
a monster
weapons or like play styles, So Another example is the new Necromancer Elite Specialization, which is called the Scourge or something like that. It basically adds a way for Necromancers to be a heavy support class, which hasn't really been available to them.
Okay, so it isn't like, hey, you got a crossbow now, and here's a bunch of skills so you can use this crossbow, and hey, you got a pole arm, and here's a bunch of skills to use a pole arm, which, I mean, you know, fair play, but like, that kind of thing is very much like, when you said that, I was like, that's like Monster Hunter, like, that's all what those games are, is pick a weapon and then build your thing around the weapon. Alright, so it's not like that, that's good, but there's some...
Yeah, so what Guild Wars 2 does is you basically have two halves of your skill bar. You have your weapon half of your skill bar, which is skills 1 through 5, and then you have kind of like a utility side of your skill bar, which is 6 through 0. And your weapons are completely divorced from your utility skills. So you don't have to use a particular weapon to use any of the utility skills.
Okay.
But with these new elite specializations, they might have, you know, certain passives or a certain way of playing that might encourage you to use a certain weapon.
Okay.
But you don't have to, for sure. So
Right.
I'm playing a Mirage right now, which is the new Mesmer Elite specialization. But I'm still using my old weapon.
Whatever else you've got going on.
Because I heard you talking about before, it's some epic grind thing that you got never again, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's part of it. It's also how I build. So I have a bunch of gear that focuses on direct damage, whereas the new axe weapon focuses more on dots. So in order to utilize that to its maximal effectiveness, I would need to change gear.
So then, from a co-op perspective, I mean, it's not outside from the raid. Are there? And I mean, you know, I'm watching you and Mike go through this little battle here. But are there like the equivalents of dungeons, like in WoW, or
There are dungeons and things called
strikes?
Fractals of the Mist as well. That are the dungeons in this game are definitely not the focus. Like, there's been 2 expansions, and there are like 8 dungeons total.
Yeah.
And most of them are in the core game.
Yeah, I think they're all in the core game.
Yeah, and people do them for things like completion and certain achievements and stuff, but it's not really what you're here for. The big bit about Guild Wars that you might see, I'm pulling up my map, so you'll see it in a second. There'll be like giant orange marks on your map, and those are all public events. And public events, they also appear on the right side of the screen, and they'll be like, oh, there's an enemy force marshaling in this area, let's go group up and head them off. So everybody in the world, or your server instance, will be able to go participate in that, and everyone gets rewards. And the combo abilities, I think Tally talked about a little bit, some of your abilities actually drop like a field on the ground. They'll be called combo fields. And when you're in a...
Yeah, I can drop Time Warp.
Yeah, so if I use certain abilities while I'm inside of a combo field, you'll actually see this little heart appear, and that when you use an ability that's called a combo finisher, it'll say, oh, so I have an ability where I can throw my greatsword called Blade Trail, and if I throw it through a combo field, it causes the projectile to get buffed by whatever it passes through. So if I throw it through an elementalist fire field, it gets lit on fire and causes fire damage to the enemy. Or if I use this whirl through a combo field, it might throw stuff in every direction depending on what I go through. So even if you're not in the same group as another player, you can affect their combo fields.